Ladies and gentlemen, please calm down. Please listen to me. I want to tell you what's going on with the ship. Thank you. We've been thrown off course just a tad.
What's a tad? Somebody asked exactly what's a tad.
What exactly is a tad? In space terms, that's about 500,000 miles.
Oh, that's interesting.
Also, we're flying without a navigational system and can't seem to change course.
Miss, are you telling us absolutely everything?
Not exactly. We're also out of coffee.
All right, so get yourself extremely comfortable. Find some place to sit down for a while. Get a fresh cup of coffee. And get ready for Sunday morning coffee with me, Isaac, the boot guy. Here comes the intro music. All right, so the topic for today's show, and it's a very vast topic, but it's also a very narrow topic. It's the pros and cons of boot repair. Okay, for most of us, if this is your first time hearing me, the boot guy, just bear with me. Bear with this whole idea of repairable footwear and disposable footwear. If you're looking down at your feet right now, and hopefully you're listening to this on a Sunday morning and you're having a cup of coffee, and the only thing on your feet should either be slippers, socks, or nothing at all, because you got your feet up, you got your headphones on, and you're just enjoying the podcast. But if you're listening to this and you're sitting there and you got boots on your feet, take some stock in those boots right now and try to understand it, whether or not those boots were built to be repaired or whether those boots were built to be disposable. Now, for most everybody who is under the age of 30, they have probably never owned a pair of boots, footwear, anything that can be repaired by a cobbler or can be rebuilt by a cobbler or a shoemaker or whatever you want to call somebody who repairs footwear. The idea of fixing a pair of shoes just doesn't exist for them. It's understandable. We live in a disposable time. All these consumer products, all this stuff that's made, all this stuff that exists in stores, it's disposable. And we actually purchase stuff with the intent of throwing it out eventually. It's not a bad thing. It's just part of life. It's part of who we are today. So we shouldn't bastardize it, and we shouldn't treat it like, it's such a horrible thing, because it's really not that bad. It's just where we are in our evolution as a species, to use that idea for something as simple as repairing your shoes. So with all that being said, let's take a little break and we'll get right on topic. Okay? All right, I'll be right back.
Yo, you're a goddamn mess, small bro. You need a new pair of boots and a new bike.
Lay off my boots. You're right about this rice-grinding horse. Shit. Piece of shit. I ought to give it a bullet and put it out of its misery. God damn, Harley. You shooting for shit, you wouldn't even get a whiff.
Okay, so now you got to think about boots in two ways. If we're only going to talk about boots, we're not going to talk about gym shoes, and we're not going to talk about anything else. We're going to talk about two classifications of boots: work boots and casual boots. In the work boot category, you have boots that are made for heavy-duty industrial work. In the casual boot category, we're going to put hiking boots, we're going to put heritage boots, we are going to put casual boots. Stuff that you would not buy if you were working construction. But here's what we got to clarify construction. Now, when people think of that word construction, there is this umbrella that covers us, and we start to think about what exactly is construction. Well, construction is a very wide sweeping term. So let's just clarify it. Construction boots are boots that are used for digging, kicking, building, installation, heavy duty work where you really don't want to touch them when the day's over because of the stuff you've been in. That's a basic construction boot. Now, when it comes to something like a casual boot, let's say a heritage boot, or let's say a casual hiking boot, or a real hiking boot, most of the time those boots, those casual boots, are not made to be repaired. Lots of work boots today are not made to be repaired. Lots of construction boots are not made to be repaired. Casual boots are usually disposable. And it's not so much about the price point or how they're made or where they're made. It's more about the idea behind the footwear, that there really is a planned obsolescence behind cheap footwear. And there has to be. I mean, when you really think about it, how else are you going to keep all those people employed who build and produce cheap footwear? You got to keep that momentum going. You got to keep that wheel turning. Now, personally, I am a big proponent of buying better footwear. I think that everybody should own 2 or 3 good pairs of boots, if not 2 good pairs of boots and 1 good pair of shoes. And you should take care of those. Now, the problem with all this is in comes this idea of style. And from this idea of style, it really cuts into the longevity of footwear, because once you buy something, eventually it's going to go out of, air quotes, style. Well, if you don't follow the style, I guess it really doesn't matter. But in most casual markets, the style is the most important, and that's why there's always new styles coming out. It's also probably why my YouTube channel does so well, is because of the changing styles. Okay, that's understandable. So what are the types of boots that can be repaired and what are the types that cannot be repaired? Okay, so mainly modern boots, stuff that is glued together, stuff that is molded together, stuff that is built on a direct attach process, stuff that is built on a molding direct injected process, stuff that is made from extremely cheap materials that you can't cut apart and put anything back together. Now that's a lot of expensive shoes are built in this non-rebuildable platform. But then you find lots of stuff that is built in a classic way. Welts, heavy-duty leather, repairable, replaceable eyelids, leather that can be sewn several times before it starts to deteriorate because it's been treated properly with the idea of it being rebuilt. All right, so enough about this. Now you're hearing all this from me, but so I had the honor 2 years ago to meet Peg Larrabell, who at the time was the owner of 3rd Street Shoes and the head cobbler there. She was the jefe. She was in charge, and she understood what a good pair of shoes was. Now, I met her at the same time that I met Dick Martins from Thorogood's 1892 line. He's the president of that line of shoes. Now, Thorogood's broken up into many divisions and departments, and they make all kinds of different stuff. But in 1892 is the American-made, classic, standard way of building a boot. Completely repairable, completely rebuildable. You can do a lot with their shoes. So I was meeting him that day for an interview, and she was there just kind of hanging out. So I got to spend some time with her and meet her and talk about what it means to be a cobbler and what it means to build shoes. So I have that audio here for you. Now, I'm going to forewarn you. We are in a noisy room. There is a gentleman who is building handmade suspenders at the table at the other side of the room. So there's a few times when you can hear his hammer pounding down the rivets. Outside of that, the audio is pretty clean. It was an okay recording. So just bear with the ambience of the recording and really pay attention to how passionate Peg is about footwear. All right, enjoy.
Some reenactment. Circuitous route.
Yeah?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I apprenticed with somebody and did basically kind of not as nice a work as what Oliver does. He does fantastic work. But, and just kind of apprenticed with somebody and started doing belts and hobby stuff. Had a little business where I made custom stuff. And then I had a whole different life, and I went to law school, and I practiced law for a long time, and I was kind of done with that. My kids were in school and out of school, and I said, you know, I'm going to do something different. And somebody in town here actually was looking for help.
Okay.
And so I said, you know, I'm kind of familiar with some of the leather tools, and, you know, I don't know anything about repair, so I'll try it. And absolutely love it.
Pound away, don't worry about it.
Yeah, absolutely just loved it.
Yeah.
So I said, you know, walk in your shop unless they want what you want, right? I don't have to sell it. People know when their shoes are worn out and when they've got a hole in there and they're getting wet. And I said, you know, and I love working with my hands. And I was familiar with some of the concepts and leatherworking. Absolutely fell in love with it. And then just said, you know, when I jump in, I really jump in, and I'm gonna, you know, do it as well as I can. I just, you know, started reading and talking with other shoe repairers who said, you know, try to make your stitches as best as you can. Make, you know, everything look as good as possible. And I thought, you know, that's the mindset that I really like. And so then I just kept doing that. And these guys, you know, contact guys, contacted me and said, you guys do great work. And I said, well, the guys in there is me. But I just love it. And Dick and I were talking earlier, just I get on my soapbox about just people can't learn this trade anywhere. There's nowhere to learn it. I get probably once a week someone coming in saying, how can I be a cobbler? A young guy came in yesterday, and he said, and I came in because I needed a little work on my shoes, but really I just wanted to talk to you. He said, how do I learn how to do this? And I said, from somebody who's doing it. And he said, unfortunately, and especially in the Midwest here, where we've got, you know, Red Wing, we've got, you know, Weinbrenner.
Yeah.
We've got Wolverine, Alan Edmonds. We've got Wolverine in Michigan now, Oak Street in Chicago.
Yeah.
We've got this Midwest kind of a hub, obviously on the East Coast. You know, Massachusetts got, you know, Alden, Rancourt, and those. But, you know, can we start a school or something for people who want to do this, especially if people want to keep selling these? If these are shipped to the hinterlands, I mean, there's fewer than 4,000 shoe repair shops in the entire United States. Where do people take their shoes if they live in, you know, even parts of Wisconsin? I mean, there's not a shoe repair shop in every city. So where are they going to send them? And Dick even said, you know, the repair function is pretty minimal at their factory. So, you know, people are buying these. They deserve to be fixed and not ending up in a landfill like a $90 pair of shoes. That's my biggie.
They gotta stop buying $90 pair of shoes.
Absolutely. And I'm not fixing them anymore. I can't, and a lot of them are not even made to be fixed. You know that. You've seen it.
Well, and it's also an education thing, you know, where if everybody thinks that this is just how footwear is presented to us, I mean, we walk in Walmart and spend $20 on a pair of boots, and 3 months later we walk back in. If that's the mindset, how do we combat that? How do we get people to understand that there's something, that there's a trade that is truly American that you can promote?
And that, in my view, really expensive footwear is that footwear that you buy $90 or more, and in 6 months to a year, it's trash. Whereas you invest in a pair like this with proper upkeep, you've got it for 15, 20 years, sometimes more. I have people bring in shoes and say, guess how old these are? And I'll say, 15. I've had these for 30 years. It's like, holy cow. You know, just incredible. It's well made and maintained. I mean, it's like putting gas and oil in your car. You're not going to just, you have to do something to them. But people ask me all the time, and they want that information. They want to know, well, because they'll bring in a shoe, and I'll say, patient has died. There's nothing I can do. And they'll say, well, what should I be looking for? And then I get on my soapbox and, tell them this is what you look for. I said, you have to save up a little bit. It'll be more dear than these other ones, but
That's the hard part for a lot of people,
it is
tucking away the squirreling away a few bucks.
Save up for a while. Wear sneakers for a little while, but get a shoe. And as Dick said, you're not going to go to the gym in it. You're not going to, you have to earn that comfort. But the trade-off there is that you're going to have it a lot longer, and it's worth it.
I mean, that's pretty damn cool, isn't it? Just how passionate she is about it, how she went from learning how to do it as a young woman to actually going on with her life and having a family and getting a law degree and practicing law, and then realizing at some point that she wanted to do something more connective again with her soul and spirit. Just awesome. Now, a little background about Peg. She is actually closing up 3rd Street Shoe Repair in Madison. I believe that she's closing up her end of it. I don't know if they're going to keep the business going or whatnot. She started a company that's called Moobuzz, which is a waterproofing paste that you put on your heavy-duty leather boots and your heavy-duty leather products. It works really well. I actually recorded a video a few months back about the product and a demo of me using the product and how to apply the product, the Moobuzz waterproofing product. So have a look at that. You'll find that down in the description box. You can find a link to it if you want to watch it. But isn't it great to hear somebody from that side of the world, somebody who actually has a passion about their trade and just the pure understanding that that trade is dying? And so as that trade dies, and is it being killed off by society? Is it being killed off by consumer practices? Or is it just being killed off because there's nobody there to do the work anymore? There's nobody there to build the boots, one, in the factory setting, and two, to repair the boots in the community setting. There is no longer a community shoemaker. None of that exists. I don't know. These are some tough questions. If you've got any insight, remember, you can always feel free to call me up, leave me a message, and just tell me what you think about these things. All right, let's listen to a few of your phone calls. I'll be right back.
Hey, this is Ron C. I'm a construction worker from Dayton, Ohio, and I just wanted to say that I'm a real big fan of your boot guy videos that you make, and I've been wearing the same boots that my wife gets from the local Walmart here, and I'm out in the freezing cold and the heat, and the boots that I got, they go through a lot of shit, and they just fall apart, and I'm spending $20-30 every couple of months. And I happened upon your channel one day when one of my buddies was showing me some stuff on his phone, and I kind of figured that I might as well just toss a couple $100 in and get a good pair of boots. And I got a pair of them Danners. I forgot what the make and model is and stuff, but it was real good, and I think that you're doing a real good service by having your channel, and I just wanted to say that, so keep it up.
Hey, Isaac, this is Jeremiah from Des Moines. Just wanted to call and say thank you. Well, we've worn the same pair of boots the last 3-4 years, and working with cattle out here in Des Moines, walking through a lot of slop and manure, mud, and rain, go through boots an awful lot. Always kept going back to the same boots, but after watching some of your videos, found a new pair that I'm loving, and also taught me which ones to stay away from. So thanks for everything you do.
Always great to hear from you guys. I just love hearing from you guys. And please, the more you guys call me and the more you guys leave me messages and also ask me questions, the better the podcast will be, the better the podcast will go. So thanks a lot. So let's just cover a few things that you need to look for if you plan on purchasing a pair of boots and keeping them for a long time. First thing you got to think about is, what are you going to do in these boots? If you're buying work boots, if you're buying boots because you're an ironworker, pipe fitter, electrician, concrete guy, something, any one of these many, many trades, buying boots that you're going to be able to repair and keep going is going to be a pretty tough thing because of how tough you guys are on your boots. Buying one pair and looking for them to last a long time, which is 9 months to a year, that one single pair, and then have them repaired, is probably ridiculous. And I'm not even going to say it's probably, it is ridiculous. If you're picking up handmade boots, if you're picking up a Thorogood, a Danner, or a Red Wing, or something like this, welted, heavy-duty leathers, Gore-Tex liners, Vibram soles, all these things that are just synonymous with rebuildable boots, you got to remember at some point as you start to wear down that sole, before it's completely gone and before you've completely destroyed the whole upper of the boot, you got to replace it, and you got to take that pair and get those new soles put on those old boots. You actually, in a work environment, you have to replace your boots 2 or 3 times before the resoling and the rebuilding process takes on that whole idea of, 1, a money-saving way of keeping your boots going, and 2, a way of getting these boots to fit your foot in a way that nothing else does. Now that's for work boots. Now when it comes to casual boots, well, that's an animal into itself also. Because if you're going to buy yourself a nice pair of heritage boots, you can basically wear them till the soles are basically shot and gone, just because of the nature of the wearing of a casual heritage rebuildable boot. You're not kicking shovels in it. You're not climbing ladders. You're not using it as a tool for, say, like a hammer, a drill, or a screwdriver. The way you're using your boots as a tool is as protecting your feet from the ground below, as giving your foot some support for an all-day hike or wear. And that's where you can really wear heritage boots till they are dead, because you're not doing those things in them. So what you got to really be conscious of is you got to take care of your leathers. In the casual setting, you got to take care of your leather. You got to keep it clean. You got to keep it oiled. You got to pay attention to dry spots that are occurring in your boots. After all, they have become an investment and they are part of you, so you might as well take care of them. Also, every now and then, re-look at your soles. If you see your heels are wearing out prematurely, or if you see the ball of your foot is starting to wear past the thread line, past the welting stitching line on the bottom, then it's time to think about repairing those boots and getting new soles put on. Now, the beautiful part about all that is that once you have those new soles put on, you can go right back at it and just start wearing the crap out of them again. Now, longevity, time frame, and all that, that really depends on you, but I can honestly say that I've seen most guys get, in a casual realm, on casual wear of anything, whether it be a Thorogood, Red Wing, Danner, Allen Edmonds, any of those boots, I've seen most guys get 2 years before they have to replace their soles. Some even get more than that, some get 3 or 4, but 2 years is a really good place to start thinking about it. Now, I don't want you to think that I'm completely against new boots, the new styles, and the new way that they're building boots, because I'm not. Trust me. When it comes to work boots, comfort is number one, because you want to forget about your boots. And the unfortunate part is that the old way we made boots, where we had to break into footboards, where we had to break into leather and get the sole soft and get the welts all softened up and stuff like that, that doesn't make for a very comfortable boot out of the box, ready to work in. Now, you don't get 3 or 4 weeks at work to break in your boots. You shouldn't have to expect to go through pain when you're doing your job. And that's where companies like Timberland Pro, where Keen, Boggs, and companies like this that are building these new, soft, comfortable boots, Danner. You can throw all these companies in there, even Red Wing and Thorogood. They're all in there trying to build the best, softest boot they possibly can, so you don't have to think about breaking in your boots. Now, the drawback is those shoes, those boots end up in a landfill. They get thrown out. 6 to 9 months in, you're throwing them out, you're replacing them. Now, it could be that you don't want to keep spending that money, and so you have to go with the rebuildable, recraftable route, and it makes sense. But as material science has improved, and it has greatly improved in the last 5 years, and leaps and bounds in the last 20 years. What was once considered garbage cheap footwear that was imported into this country has now become some of the most superior footwear out there for comfort and longevity. Though there's still hiccups and bumps, chemistry is sometimes not always held through correctly, soles crack, boots separate, leather that is being split one too many times and just made way too thin is cracking and deteriorating prematurely. But every so often, somebody gets it right. And when these companies get it right building these new style of boots, it really, really shows. So what do you guys think? Do you think maybe you're going to lean more towards buying yourself rebuildable, recraftable boots, or are you going to be more in the modern era where you're picking up boots that are really technologically proficient in just their constructions and material science and all that stuff? What's your preference? Hey, leave me a message, give me a call. Let me know what you like. If you like strictly American-made boots, give me a call. Leave a message. Let me know. If you see the equal balance between something that is chemically produced, and that's what material science is. It's a chemically produced style of footwear. If you see the value in that, also leave me a message. Well, that was Sunday Morning Coffee. I hope you enjoyed the whole idea on footwear and how it's replaceable, repairable. And if this is a new concept to you, then please remember that you can watch a lot, and I mean a lot, of videos that I have recorded on my YouTube channel about modern footwear, about classic footwear. I go into depth just telling you what makes this boot better than this boot on this side, and just the whole idea of giving you a full and honest review about a product before you buy it. Also, if you're listening and you enjoyed this, like I said, call me up, leave me a message, let me know if you got a question about a purchase or about size and fit, about boots, or about anything in the work world or casual world. Or if you just want to call me up and leave me a message and just say something nice, feel free. I truly do appreciate it. Also, if you're downloading this on SoundCloud or Stitcher, also remember to subscribe there for me. If you're interested in a more visual representation of the podcast, all the images I have from the podcast that I've acquired for who's ever being interviewed or whatever they've sent me, you'll always find them at thebootguy.com on my website. I have a whole blog system that I've been keeping about stuff like this. Whether I'm reviewing a boot, whether I get something new, whether a new manufacturer sends me something, I always try to create a blog posting for what's ever going on in the whole boot spectrum and world that I've got going on here. Also, and I'm sorry for the 15th also of this little tidbit, but for more of a strictly visual representation of what I'm taking pictures of and what I'm doing, check out my Instagram account, The Boot Guy Chicago. There you will see all kinds of new items that I get every single day. I try to take photographs of them as quick as I can and get them out there so that you guys know what's in the pipeline, what videos will be coming out on YouTube, what I'll be showing off on the blog, and just what's going on. It also helps me by putting those photos out there that the manufacturers know that they're sending me this stuff and it's getting used and truly reviewed in the best possible way that I can do it. Now, for the end, the absolute end. This is Sunday Morning Coffee. I'm Isaac, and this has been a blast. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please comment below in the comments box or shoot me over an email. You know my email. It's isaac@thebootguy.com. It's at the end of every single video that I post. Send me over an email. If you're going to call me, the number's down below in the description. You can find it on the website, or if you just do a Google search for The Boot Guy Reviews, guess what? I come up there also. So I'm not that hard of a person to find. Thanks a lot for listening. Thanks a lot for watching the reviews. And I'll see you next Sunday with another podcast. All right. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.